Today, we're going to finally tackle and hopefully decode one of the absolute most debated endings in modern cinema history. I mean, for years, people have argued over those final frames of Inception, right? Endlessly analyzing that little spinning top on the table, trying to figure out if it wobbles, if it falls, or if it just keeps spinning forever. But what if I told you that by obsessing over the top, you're actually missing the entire point of the movie? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down the narrative step by step to show you exactly why that famous spinning top is actually a trick question, and how understanding what's really going on completely changes the meaning of the film's ending. So, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the spinning top debate itself, unpack the strict rules of the dream layers, look closely at Cobb's emotional anchor, examine what it means that he walks away from certainty, and finally wrap up with why perception over reality is the ultimate takeaway. Okay, kicking things off with part 1, the spinning top debate. Did Cobb actually wake up? I mean, that is the multi-million-dollar question everyone asks the literal second the credits start rolling. Some viewers will absolutely insist that the spinning top proves he's still in a dream because it wobbles a bit but never actually drops. Others say, it doesn't matter. But here is the undeniable truth. The ending is not meant to be this simple binary puzzle with a single correct answer. To understand what's really happening in that final scene, we have to look past the physical top on the table and understand one very specific, totally unbreakable rule about the world of Inception. Which brings us to part 2, the rules of dream layers. Let's dig into the mechanics of the mind here. To really grasp the ending, you only need to understand how dreams operate in this specific universe. It's like a giant puzzle. First, you enter a dream layer. Simple enough. From there, you can actually enter a dream inside that dream. But the defining mechanic, the real game changer here, is time. The deeper you go into these subconscious layers, time literally slows to a crawl. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. All of these layers feel entirely real while you're inside them. The architecture is incredibly layered, and as you descend deeper into the mind, everything retains the full weight, logic, and texture of actual reality. So the absolutely crucial rule to remember is this. If a dream is stable enough, your brain completely accepts it as reality. There's no obvious ringing alarm clock that goes off in your head to tell you, hey, you're currently on level 3 of your subconscious. Without that alarm, a stable dream is 100% accepted by the mind as the real world. Think about what that actually means. The question isn't just whether Cobb woke up. The truly terrifying question driving the whole narrative is, how does Cobb even know what is real to begin with? He's completely on his own, forced to figure out how to somehow trust his own perception. And that naturally leads us into part 3, Cobb's emotional anchor. Because now that we know the rules of the space, we really need to understand the man navigating it. We have to remember something super important. Cobb isn't just a cold operative executing a crazy heist. He is a man profoundly torn between two opposing forces. On one hand, you've got his absolute obsession with certainty, which is represented by the top. But on the other hand, you have his emotional anchor, his desperate, overwhelming need for connection and to finally return to his children. Every single level of this story is basically a tug of war between his need to mathematically prove what is real and his deep emotional desire to just see his family again. But of course, standing right in the way of that goal is a massive psychological roadblock. His memories of his wife, Mao, are constantly distorting his perception of reality. In the architecture of Cobb's mind, Mao literally equals doubt and uncertainty. She doesn't just appear in his subconscious as a sad memory. She's the ultimate dangerous embodiment of his own lack of trust in his surroundings. She is his lingering fear about what's real and what isn't. So when you think about it, Cobb's true challenge throughout the story isn't actually about pulling off the heist or escaping the dream layers. It's about overcoming that crippling internal doubt and learning to finally trust his own perception again. Let's move on to part 4, walking away from certainty. This is where the crazy physical heist and his deep emotional journey totally collide. As this final mission goes down, it is pure chaos. It's happening across multiple, simultaneously collapsing dream levels. The boundary between what is real and what is a dream completely, utterly blurs, which brings us right to those famous final moments. Cobb does one last thing, he spins the top. We know this object is his totem. It's the thing meant to definitely confirm if he's in reality or a dream. If it falls, reality. If it spins, dream. But then, boom, the camera cuts away to black. The result is permanently hidden from us. And guys, this is entirely intentional. Now, this is the really fascinating part. Consider the massive psychological shift that just happened in front of our eyes. Throughout the entire story, the past Cobb would obsessively watch that top. He literally needed that confirmation, that certainty, just to function.
But final Cobb? He spins the top, and he just walks away before even seeing the result. He completely stops depending on external proof. The point of that scene isn't the top itself, and it's definitely not about whether it eventually falls. The point is Cobb's monumental decision to simply stop caring about the result. He leaves the literal symbol of his doubts spinning on a table, and he walks away to his kids. And that brilliantly illustrates the core theme of our final section, Part 5, Perception over Reality. This quote right here perfectly captures the absolute essence of the ending. He chooses the reality that feels right to him. By walking away from that spinning top, Cobb proves that asking if he's dreaming is entirely the wrong question. Instead of waiting around for absolute scientific certainty, Cobb actively chooses his children over the test. He chooses emotional connection over uncertainty. The film deliberately refuses to answer the physical question because the story is actually asking a much deeper one. Is certainty even possible? And it concludes that, you know what? If experiences and emotions are completely real to the person feeling them, the whole distinction between awake and dreaming just becomes totally secondary. When we look at Cobb's final state, we can see his emotional arc is 100% complete. He is no longer trapped in that suffocating guilt associated with Mal. He's no longer endlessly chasing certainty with his totem. He is simply fully present with his children. Whether the physical space he occupies right then is reality or a deeply nested dream, he's achieved exactly what he wanted emotionally. His internal conflict is healed. So that infamous cut to black at the end, it's not some cheap trick played on the audience to make us argue on the internet. It is a profound, incredibly powerful emotional choice made by the character. To simplify everything we've covered today, the entire story really just boils down to this single, powerful statement. Perception becomes reality when doubt is removed. The spinning top, like we talked about, was really just a physical manifestation of doubt itself. So Cobb walking away, that is the actual conclusion of the film. The story concludes not when reality is definitively proven to us, the audience, but when Cobb's mind simply no longer feels the need to search for that truth. He removes the doubt, and because of that, his perception becomes his reality. Which brings us to the final question the story leaves us with, and I want to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder today. Does it actually matter if Cobb is dreaming, if his happiness is completely real to him? Sometimes our minds stop searching for the truth, not because we found it, but because we just no longer need it. When you finally let go of the obsessive need for absolute certainty, doesn't the emotional truth become the only reality that truly matters? Something to definitely think about the next time you find yourself desperately searching for proof instead of just experiencing the moment. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you all next time.
As always, subscribe to our channel, like the video, and comment below. There are also some links in our description that you may find useful. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.